Remember when the state fair was awesome? Ferris wheels, funnel cake, concert, livestock. The rides were actually fun and the food was incredible. And all the chaos around it made it feel special. Yes, it was always loud and it was crowded, but that's what gave it character. But now, that's just not the case anymore. Somewhere along the way, all of that energy just disappeared.
Can we talk about how much the fair has gone downhill? All we got now is overpriced food and dried turkey legs.
Attendance has dropped. Vendors have left, and now a lot of state fairs feel like ghosts of their former selves. So what happened? How did this huge piece of American culture fade away? Let's look at the downfall of state fairs. State fairs started in the mid-1800s as agricultural showcases, a place for farmers to show off crops, livestock, and new inventions. But by the mid-20th century, they'd evolved into something much bigger. This is the fair you know today. Rides, concerts, prizes. The fair became less about farming and more about fun. And in the 80s and 90s, attendance was at an all-time high. Families planned their summers around it. Major artists performed. Local businesses made most of their yearly income in 1 week. But that's the problem. The crowd has started to disperse.
Longtime content creator Jared Gwines.
A lot of people don't know that the corn dog was actually invented at the state fair in 1942.
Loves the State Fair of Texas. And during opening weekend and week, he shared to his 166,000 followers on Facebook that something felt off this year.
I couldn't help but notice how scant the crowds were.
Pictures, videos, Gwines documenting a state fair with seemingly no one around.
Over the last decade, the state fair has slowly lost its grip on American culture. And what's cruel is how slowly it's happened. It's almost as if the world around changed faster than the fair could keep up. Ticket prices went up and keep going up. Ride costs skyrocketed, and vendors had to charge more just to break even.
So let me get this straight. Y'all want 15 tickets to ride something that came out of a suitcase.
A corn dog that used to cost $3 now costs $10. And for families, that adds up fast. I remember going to the fair just last year and being shocked at some of the food prices. I swear, I saw funnel cakes being sold for $15. $15 for a funnel cake. That's fried dough and powdered sugar, the two cheapest ingredients that you could get. And at the same time, safety and maintenance costs exploded. After a few high-profile ride accidents went viral, insurance premiums for operators doubled in some states. A lot of smaller fairs simply just couldn't afford to keep running. And then there's competition. Fairs used to be the most exciting thing in town when they came up. Now they're fighting for attention against way bigger amusement parks. Disney, Six Flags, Universal Studios, those are some elite amusement parks. Back in the day, if you skipped those mega parks, the fair was the cheaper, slightly quirky alternative. But now, even the cheap option isn't really cheap anymore.
It's not a lack of interest, it's a lack of disposable income. We have this enjoyment discretionary funds that we use for good times, right? You know, it's usually 10-15% of your take home. And the fact is that's been squeezed.
And they're also starting to lose the younger crowd. They want something that they can post online, and the traditional fair hasn't found a way to fit into that. So over time, attendance starts to slip. Vendors are starting to cut back. Rides are continuously getting older, and that same cycle repeats every year, only the price goes up. Let's take a look at the Tulsa State Fair, for example. Vendors reported 100,000 fewer attendees in 2025 compared to 2024. One vendor noted that the cost to be a vendor was, quote, too high after 2 decades of business. And that pressure on the vendor just means it's going to be more expensive for actual fairgoers. A couple corn dogs, some deep fried Oreos, a lemonade, easily cost you $50. And that's the thing, vendors say it's not greed, it's survival.
Strawberries this year have gone up about 25% for us. Strawberries are one of those things that are affected by weather and been a lot of rain, and that deteriorates the quality of strawberries, therefore making in short demand. So we've dealt with a significant price increase with those.
At the turkey leg stand, owner Diane Orm says she did not have that option. Those turkey legs now sell for $20.
And that's something we don't like to do, but you know, over the times with the bird flu and everything, our cost of turkey legs went up $37 to $47 a box. So we really didn't have a choice.
Rising ingredient costs, higher fuel prices, and steeper booth fees are all eating into profits. Some smaller family-run stands have already closed for good. And when those local vendors are closing, that's where the fair really loses its magic. And the thing is, running the fair isn't cheap. Permits, safety inspections, workers, rides, entertainers, it all adds up to millions of dollars in operating expenses. And when attendance begins to drop, the whole financial model starts to feel a little wobbly. Take the Texas State Fair in 2025, for example. It drew about 2 million visitors, which is roughly 400,000 fewer than the year before, a decline of over 16%. And the vendors are saying the same thing. Parking fees, food got more expensive, and families just decided not to go altogether. And when you break down the actual financial models, you can see they're already operating on not a great margin. A 2022 report found that Iowa's fair had operating revenue of $40 million and expenses of $37.7 million, meaning a profit, yes, but not a runaway success, and only after ticket and food price increases. I know that lately, every time I go to the fair, I immediately start to question, is all of this even worth it? You pull up and parking itself is $30. The food is more expensive, there's less rides in the midway. The whole thing just feels muted. And once those doubts start to spread via social media, a negative feedback loop just starts.
Today I'm a bad mom because I won't take my kids to the state fair. We're paying $120 just to see chickens and piggies that I can see down the road at the farm.
But I think that the main reason the fair is losing its steam is just a cultural shift in general. The fair used to be where everyone came together, your neighbors, your school, your entire community. It was a small town connection on a massive scale, but that sense of community has moved online. And safety itself has also become a growing issue. Ride inspections, equipment maintenance, and vendor quality control vary widely between the states. In 2023 alone, there were more than 500 amusement ride injuries reported across the US. And it feels like every summer there's some crazy viral story of a ride breaking down or some fight breaking out. And every time this happens, it just chips away at the fair's reputation. And it's not just the bad ride. A lot of fairs are getting bad press over their sanitation. The Minnesota State Fair, for example, saw over 100 reported medical incidences in 2024. Everything from heat strokes to just fistfights. Add in rising crime around the area, and the fair starts to look a little less family friendly. So is there even a future for the state fair? I think so, but there's going to have to be a lot of changes. Firstly, I think you need to modernize the experience as a whole. I think the main problem is the pricing. They could introduce something like day passes, family passes, or just ride-only passes. They could do like early bird discounts or seasonal discounts. Or they could do something where they charge slightly less on weekdays or slower days in general. Or maybe do a food pass sort of thing. I don't think state fairs are completely dead. I think they just need to be evolved. The rides, the food, the magic, it's all still there. It just needs to be accessible for everyone. But again, that's just my opinion. I want to hear what you think. Do you still love the state fair? Do you go every year? Do you eat all of the food and ride all of the rides? Maybe it's still great. Or likewise, maybe you haven't gone in years. Let me know your experiences in the comment and I'll try and respond to as many as I can. But as always, thank you guys so much for watching and I will see you in the next one.